Hi, everyone. This is Mike Dunn. I'm a manager in our Region 3 Enforcement and Compliance Assurance Division. We're going to shift a little bit here to start talking about some tools that you can use in your communities to sort of find out more about the environmental conditions and the facilities that may be regulated by the EPA around you. Always exciting to hear from Chesapeake Bay folks. Great program. Very great to see how much progress they've been making. We are going to have about 25 minutes here. Our goal is really to just give you a taste of this tool, show you a little bit of its capabilities, and more importantly, connect you with its resources and our experts here in EPA Region 3. So to do that, I'm going to introduce our speakers today. First up is Moshood Oduwole, who is a manager in our data support branch, which is in our enforcement division, as well as a senior engineer in that data support branch, Kurt Elsner. Just a reminder, please feel free to type any questions that you have in the chat. We'll do our best to get to them during the session. If not, we can follow up with you later. And so again, I'm going to turn it to Moshood, who will run through the quick presentation on ECHO, as well as a quick demo, and then we'll shift to Q&A. Moshood, are you ready?
All right. Yes. Hi. Thanks, Mike. Can you hear me? All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our session today for the ECHO 2 presentation for the Mid-Atlantic Summit. So again, ECHO is an acronym for the Enforcement and Compliance History Online. ECHO is a web-based, publicly available tool that provides integrated compliance and enforcement information for over 1 million regulated facilities across the country. So it is important to the mission of EPA to make sure that the public have access to data and information as it relates to oversight, compliance, and enforcement activities at facilities around the country. So one of EPA's priorities, especially in Region 3, the Mid-Atlantic region, is to increase our presence in our environmental justice, EJ communities, and to make sure that information information is available for the public at large that they can use to get data as it relates to what is going on in their communities, as it relates to enforcement and compliance activities in those communities. So EPA's ECHO tool is one example of how the agency is making sure that those resources are available to the public at large. So during this brief presentation, I'm going to be giving you a brief overview of the ECHO tool, and I'll also be talking about how you can access the tool and the kind of information that is available. And at the end of my presentation, I'll briefly take you into the world of ECHO and show you how to query data and retrieve information from the ECHO website that you may be interested in. Okay, without further ado, so what is ECHO? So as I said before, ECHO is acronym for the Enforcement and Compliance History Online. It's a public website where you can get information on regulated facilities across the country. ECHO provides information to anyone that is interested on any facility that is being regulated by EPA. You can get data on the frequency of which a regulated facility is being inspected, and if there are any violations found during inspections that EPA inspectors do at that particular facility. You can also get data on enforcement actions that are being taken at a particular facility in the past. The tool can be used by anyone in the public, any member of the public can use this tool. It's a very easy tool to use. For example, if you live in a town or a city, if you live in a town or a city where there's a refinery, for example, within few miles of your residence, and you are interested in seeing what is going on at this facility in terms of compliance and enforcement with law, with federal laws, you can go into Echo to get this kind of information. You can see whether what is the frequency of inspections, what are the violations that are identified during EPA's inspection, or are there even any enforcement actions that have been taken in this at this particular refinery in your neighborhood in the past. A journalist that is doing a story about a spill or a trail derailment, for example, or an attorney that is simply just looking for information about an environmental litigation that they are involved with, can everyone can easily go into Echo and use that as their first line of data and information gathering. So the data that is being displayed in Echo are integrated from major EPA information systems. There are many database of record here at EPA, and my office, the data support branch in the Enforcement and Compliance Division, is responsible for managing some of these databases. And as a custodian of these databases, it is our responsibility to make sure that the enforcement and compliance data are accurately entered into these databases, and which gives Echo the ability to pull those data into its system. So most times, the information that you are seeing in Echo is the most up-to-date information that we have internally as well. So I do encourage anyone that is interested in getting information about any facility, about any enforcement and compliance actions at a particular facility to take a look at Echo and use that as a resource for them to get the information that they need. So what kind of information can you look up in Echo? Like I said, there's a lot of information that you can look up for a particular facility. Echo allows a user to get information on compliance status at a facility for up to 3 years. You'll be able to see whether a facility has been in compliance or out of compliance of a particular law, of a particular federal law. You'll also be able to see all inspections and enforcement actions that are being conducted at a particular regulated facility within the last 5 or 10 years. Environmental justice data are also available for each facility in Echo. You can get information on whether a particular facility is in a potential environmental justice area of concern, EJ area of concern, as we call it here. This is particularly important for EPA as an agency, as this EJ determination help us focus um, on increasing our oversight at those facilities that we have identified as being in an EJ community, for example. So these are the kind of information that you can get, that you can take a look at when you go into Echo. So what are the sources of the data that is being displayed in Echo? Like I said earlier, Echo gets its data from multiple EPA data systems. Some of these systems are what we call environmental database of record, and I've just listed 4 of those important databases here on this slide. One of those is what we call ICIS. ICIS is an acronym for the Integrated Compliance Information System. ICIS is a major EPA database that holds data for all compliance and enforcement actions at all facilities around the nation. ECHO also gets its data from from RCRA Info. RCRA Info is an acronym for Resource Conservation and Information Systems. RCRA Info holds data for all oversight, compliance, and enforcement activities as it relates to the RCRA. RCRA is the Resource Conservation and is the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. Another database that ECO pull data from is CIDWIS. CIDWIS is an acronym for the Safe Drinking Water Information Systems. CIDWIS is one of our internal databases that stores all EPA's data on oversight, enforcement, and compliance activities as it relates to Safe Drinking Water Act. Again, ECO also gets data from the FRS. FRS is the Federal Registry System. The FRS is another centrally managed database that identifies sites and facilities of environmental interest all over the country. There's a lot databases that ECO pulls data from, and I've just a full list of all of this of these databases are available on the ECO website, and I will encourage everyone to take a look and navigate to the website and the about the data page to see a list of all of these internet databases if you're interested. Before I give you a quick demo of the ECO tool, I just wanted to share some of the resources that are available for you to explore on the ECO website. The ECO tool guide. The ECO tool guide gives you a demonstration of how to navigate and get around ECO. There are also various video tutorials available on the website. These tutorials, shows you information from basic introduction to ECO to how to look up facilities or even pull, EJ data report or do EJ screening in ECO. There are also direct links provided to state agencies' websites where you can access information from our partner states in terms of the compliance and enforcement data that are now readily reported to EPA. Again, you can also sign up for the mailing list in ECO if you want to stay informed or you want to get ECO news and service updates. This is a really good way to make sure you are in the know when things are changing in ECO, when there are new resources, new tool that is being added to the website. So I do encourage you to take a look at all of these resources and make use of them and see how you can use it to get information readily for facilities that you are interested in knowing more about. Without further ado, I'll take you to a quick demo of the ECO tool. The fastest way to get to ECO is through the website, eco.epa.gov. And I'm going to click on that website. And so this is what, if you go to www.eco.epa.gov, this is what the page looks like. I'm always a fan of the quick search, which is the best place to start. If you're starting the ECO for the first time, going through the quick search gives you a quick way to get through a lot of information that you may be interested in. So in the search button, there are two different tabs. There's a location tab and there's a facility name tab. The location tab lets you get data about a universe of facilities. So let's say, for example, you're just interested in knowing, what is going on in your neighborhood, in your city, for example. You can, put the name of your city or a state or a zip code. And if you click on the search button on the right side, you will immediately be taken to all of those facilities that is currently have a compliance and enforcement action in that area. And if you are feeling comfortable and you're looking for specific information, you have a particular facility in mind that you just want to specifically look at the data, you can click on the facility name tab. And once you enter the name of the facility and click on search, you will automatically be taken to a detailed facility report of that particular facility that you are interested in knowing more about. But let's say for the sake of this demo, we're gonna just start trying to find out a universe of facilities that are out there in a particular zip code. So I'm gonna use a Philadelphia zip code here, which is 19145, which is the city of Philadelphia. And if I click on the search button, and it will automatically take me to the facility search results. And if you see on the right side of this screen, it's telling me that there are 78 facilities found within that zip code. And if you scroll down, you can see those facilities that are being displayed alphabetical order. Again, if you look on the right side, you can see some specific information about the current violations. How many facilities have current violations against them? How many facilities have violations in the last 3 years? How many have significant violations? And how many have formal and informal enforcement action against them in the last 5 years? So let's say I'm interested in knowing more about these 4 facilities that have had a formal enforcement action taken against them in the last 5 years. All I need to do is to click on that button, and I get additional narrowed down data, and it is showing me those 4 facilities that have had that have formal enforcement action taken against them in the last 5 years. And let's say the first one, PES Cocoa Tank Farm, is located in my neighborhood. I'm interested in knowing what has been going on, what has EPA been doing, what are the states been doing regarding this facility. I know they have enforcement actions taken against them, and I'm curious. I want to know more. All I need to do is just click on that, the facility name, and that takes me to a detailed facility report. And this facility report gives me all of the information in terms of inspection, in terms of compliance and enforcement action as it relates to this particular facility, PES Cocoa Tank Farm. The environmental media column here allows me to even further narrow down my search. Maybe this is a refinery, and I'm just interested in all of the air violations, all of the air inspections, or I'm interested in all of the inspection that has been done, as it relates to the Clean Water Act, for example, or the Safe Drinking Water Act. I can click on the water tab or the drinking water tab or any of these tabs, and I'll be able to see the information that I'm looking for in terms of that particular media. Again, let's say, for example, I'm only interested in the air, the media, the air media, and I click on air, and this would take me directly to the information as it relates to that media. So for example, this is showing me that there are 2 compliance activities in the last 2 years. And if you see, there's a caveat here. It says this only reflects full compliance evaluation. So this doesn't mean that there's only been 2 times that we have done an inspection here. It just says that we've done many inspections, but only 2 of them are at full compliance, a full compliance evaluation. I can get data of the date that the day of last compliance monitoring activity. I can know if there's any violation that has been identified. I can also find out information about how many informal enforcement actions have been taken here, how many formal enforcement actions that have been taken at this particular facility in the last 5 years. Are there been any penalties issued? You can see what those are in this particular column. If I scroll down, I want to know more regarding here, and I'm just going to go back to, there are so many informations that you can get here, but I'm just going to scroll down to give you the most important ones. You can look at information and compliance monitoring history. What are the kind of inspection and evaluation that has been done, at this facility? When was the last inspection done? What are the dates that inspection was done? You can go, if I want to look at data for the last 5 years, I can get the data for the last 5 years. If I want to see data for the last 10 years, all I need to do is just scroll down and pick last 10 years, and I get additional information that goes back, that shows you all of the inspections and evaluations that EPA has conducted at this facility in the last 10 years, and what the findings are. What are the, if there are any findings, the last column to the right tells me what those are. Again, there's a lot, there's been a lot that has been, and again, this is just under Clean Air Act. I can look, there are many additional inspection that has been done under the Clean Water Act, under the Safe Drinking Water Act, under RCRA hazardous waste, for example, that I can get all of that information just clicking on one button or another button. Yeah, so this, I was just going to run quickly. Again, this is the detailed facility report of that particular cocoa tank farm. And I was just pointing out about showing what kind of information you can get. For example, you can see if there's been any penalties that have been issued. You can see that here. You can see if there's any violations. You can see all of the compliance monitoring history for the last 10 years or for the last 5 years, and you can see what those findings are, and this is just for Clean Air Act only. You can also get information on other statutes, whether you're looking for Clean Water Act or Safe Drinking Water Act, for example. And you can see, what are the violations that are seen, if there are violation identified during an inspection. It tells you whether they are in compliance or if they are still out of compliance. Again, these are just a lot of information that you have access to as a member of the public. You can see what informal enforcement actions have been taken in the last 5 years or the last 10 years. What are the formal enforcement actions that have been taken, NOVs, penalties, if there are any bankruptcy settlement, you can see all of that information. And the last thing I want to show is the EJ, which I think is very important. You can see data for the environmental justice indices for this particular facility. And I want to point you to these 12 indexes that we use to determine if an area is in an EJ, if a facility is an EJ area of concern. If you look at all of these 12 indices, if any of these 12 indexes are above 80, it shows that this particular facility is in an EJ area of concern, a potential EJ area of concern, and that is an important tool that allows us as an agency to have additional layer of scrutiny, additional layer of oversight and inspection and enforcement that we have to do based on this calculation of a particular facility being in a potential EJ area of concern. Again, this is a really fascinating, a tremendous tool. I encourage everyone to go to eco.epa.gov, play around it. If you have any question, we're very happy to answer those questions. And with that, that is the end of our presentation. I think we have a time for 1 or 2 questions, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Moshood. Thanks for the demo. Again, this is just a sort of appetizer. If you're interested, please head to the website with lots of resources there. We had one clarifying question about the state data that shows up in ECHO and whether that's state data that's just in ISIS Maybe you could clarify that.
No, they are state data. So both state and EPA data are being pulled in ISIS and ECHO. So you'll be able to get some of the state data as well, some of the inspection and enforcement that the state has conducted. So that data is also pulled by ECHO. So you'll be able to have access to that information.
Okay, thanks again. I know we're basically out of time here. If there are any more last questions here, I'll make a point here just to sort of say that, again, this is really, I think, a very useful tool for folks in the community. If you are interested in like facilities, if you are a member of the media doing stories about things, you can get information from that as well. And EPA Administrator Michael Regan last year really sort of made an announcement about how important ECHO could be and encouraged everyone to sign up to sort of get information about the facilities in their area as a way to sort of support communities knowing what's there and then being able to do something about it. So thank you for your time and thank you for your attention.